To introduce myself, my name's Nina Coakley. I'm the Service Manager for Change here at Dorset Council, and I'm also joined today by my colleague Sarah Hillier, who works for Wokingham Borough Council, and together we've been developing the work that we're going to show you today. So I'm going to kick off. There'll be an opportunity at the end for questions. So if you've got anything, if you can hang on till the end, that will be super, and we'll come back to that. So in terms of Services Week, this is a kind of cross-organisational public sector event that happens across the country in multiple locations. And the idea is that it's kind of a supported week, which is self-organised by those in the public sector to help us discuss where we've got good examples of accessible and equitable public services, with the idea being that we've got this cross-government working group who's been supporting us to provide that framework, enabling us to show you the great work that we think is great in order to help us connect with people we might not connect with normally, demonstrate the value of some of the approaches that we might be taking, thinking about those user-centred, evidence-based approaches to the way that we deliver change. It's all about promoting services and doing things in a kind of improved and better way, essentially, because really we want services for the public that are able to meet all sorts of different people's needs, that are fair and equitable, and that are sustainable. So in terms of Services Week, our offering this week is around the development of the Transformation Hub. And I'm going to hand over to Sarah to take you through some of that.
Hi. So I'm Sarah. I'm a Technology Project Manager for Wokingham Borough Council. As Nina said, today we're going to talk about how Wokingham of Dorset have worked together to develop both of our transformation hubs.
Excellent.
So the programme for today is in front of you here. So we're first of all going to talk about how we've worked together to develop the tool. Then Nina's going to show you the Dorset Transformation Hub and what that looks like. And then we'll have 10 minutes at the end for any questions. So where did all this start? I think that the first thing to say is, in response to the pandemic, I think we both feel that we've had to work faster and be more transparent than we ever have before. And initially, I personally found that quite challenging, working from home without colleagues and friends sort of sat right next to you to collaborate with. So I decided to have a quick look further afield to see how other councils were reacting to that change in working environment, particularly in relation to Microsoft 365, which is the project that I work on. I came across a LinkedIn article that was shared by Lisa Trickey, who works for, obviously, Dorset. And the article was talking about how we can use digital services to aid COVID response when we're all working from home. From there, me and Lisa met up and we wanted to talk through our ideas and to see if there was anything we could share. From there, Wokingham were already thinking about using SharePoint hubs, so I was able to share that with Lisa, and we decided that it'd be a good idea to share that wider with the Dorset team, which is where I met Nina, and our friendship was born. From then, we've had a monthly meeting with each other, and we've also created a team site that we share ideas on.
Yeah.
I think it would be fair to say that when we first had that meeting together, we found out that we actually had exactly the same challenges and we wanted the same outcomes. From there, we discovered that the problems we had were about the projects that we are now having to introduce at fast speed without a central viewing tool where we can keep everything in one place. Going forward, I think we both wanted our outcome to be that our tools are accessible and that we can be more transparent about the projects that we're running, what they plan to deliver, and the documents that are attached to them. And we wanted them to be accessible to our user base, no matter who we decided that would be within our sort of central project teams or wider outside to members and service areas. At Wokingham, we'd already started looking at that. We'd started creating a central hub to share documents and hold them. But we wanted to make sure that all content was accessible and easy to view, all the way from template documents to reporting that we would share at a higher level. And it's from this point really that Nina and I decided to work together.
And what Sarah's really politely saying there is that Dorset at that point shamelessly started borrowing the work that Wokingham had already developed, and using that as kind of our starting point. So having some of those early conversations was really beneficial in giving, from my perspective, giving me a bit of confidence in terms of what might be out there and what we could do, but also then enabling us to take some of the techniques that had already been developed by Wokingham and Sarah's team and kind of driving that forward in Dorset. So we were actually able at that point to actually develop at greater pace than Sarah's team over in Wokingham. So we could start the foundation and then we pushed that forward, and were then able to share that back with Wokingham Borough Council in terms of, you know, that kind of quid pro quo. So they started it off, we then developed and did a bit more work, which then Wokingham were able to learn from and adopt, and we're still doing that today, to be honest. We're sort of going backwards and forwards and learning from each other. So in terms of the relationship that we've been able to build, it was so very valuable because it enabled that kind of thinking time, you know, learning from other people, and ultimately enabling us to develop a new way of doing things, and for us that's what we've called our hub sites. So we've both got them, and here's a few screenshots here from both of them. So you can see they're quite similar, but actually what they contain is there's lots of buttons, there's dashboards, there's charts and graphs, there's lists, there's imagery, there's all sorts on the hubs, and you know, they've got their similarities and their differences. But we have ended up essentially co-creating our tools to meet each of our needs. So what I'm going to do now is I've got a video to actually show you the hub. So I'm just going to play that. Hopefully you can hear it. If you can't, let us know and I'll panic quietly and try and see if I can fix that. But hopefully now I'll show you a video. It's about 7 or 8 minutes long, but it will take you all the way through the hub, and then after that we'll come back and do some questions. So here we go. Welcome to the Transformation Hub. This is the way Dorset Council tracks and monitors all of its transformation activity. And we want this to be a useful tool for you too. So I'm going to show you around. So here you have the Transformation Hub. It's designed to all work from one landing page. So if I scroll down, we've got a number of different buttons, and we've got a number of different tiles, all of which contain information behind them about our transformation activity. So starting at the top of this landing page, you've got a bar of information here, which setting out where we currently are in terms of our high level transformations. You've got the number of projects and programs, when they're due to start, and what collectively they will save. Scrolling down, we've got some information here around how we prioritise our transformation programme. We have a pipeline of activity across the organisation, which enables us to quickly understand what's happening and what's changing, and it enables us to track and provide resource and support those projects accordingly. All of that set out here, and you can have a look at the pipeline on this button here. Scrolling down a little bit, you've got a section here made up of lots of different buttons. Over on the right hand side here, you've got information which may be useful to you, whether or not you're looking at a high level overview from the transformation plan perspective, or whether you're actually delivering a project yourself or working on a project. We've got information here around the delivery toolkit, our templates and guidance, and a useful page around governance. So how do, you know, all the different boards fit together? How do we make sure that we've got a kind of clear line of sight of transformation? And that's all on here. Anything you want to click in terms of a button, you just click on it. It will take you to the relevant page. So here you can see all of our governance, how it all fits together, and the membership. And at any point you want to click back, you click on this icon up on the top left hand corner, and that will take you back to your landing page. in the on the left hand side of our tracking progress section, and this is where there's all sorts of information around transformation. Some of it will be relevant to you, some of it might not, but it's all there and accessible to everybody across the organisation. So here we've got 2 buttons all relating to our highlight report process. We have a automated process which actually requires all of our project managers or project leads to provide their report on the Transformation Hub itself. So they can use a RAG rating, a RAG criteria table here, just so we get some consistency around how we describe the challenges we may or may not have ahead. And then in here is where we hold each individual highlight report for each project, and they just keep adding them in here as a list and we collate them all. Complete the report by clicking here if you've got access to do so. And once that report's been completed in this list format, it will in the background auto-generate and flow into a Word document, which enables us to then have a document that's shareable, that has one version of the truth, and it feeds into an overall dashboard that we use to monitor our transformation progress. When completing that report here, project managers are able to include the names of anybody that they might want to send that Word document to. And so when they click submit, that Word document will generate and automatically be sent to whoever's been entered onto that list, which means again that they're able to look at it, that single version of the truth. They can feedback, have a conversation with the project manager around the highlight report, and then make changes if necessary, etc. So that happens monthly across our transformation program. And I'm just going to take you back to the landing page to the other transformation button here, which is highlight report. So this is our summary. And so what happens is when a highlight report has been generated, all of that gone on in the background, it's created the Word document. We're then able to pull through all of those scores in relation to that RAG table, the red, amber, green table, and give us this dashboard here. So down the left hand side, you've got all of the projects, you've got their overall status and their individual status for each of those priority areas. So you've got least concerns at the bottom, most concerns at the top. So that enables us to look at highlight reports by exception. And then down here, we've got links to each individual project, so you can have a look at their highlight report as a deep dive if necessary. It's really quick and easy to be able to access quite a large number of reports. So I'm going to take you back to the landing page. And on here, I want to say there's a couple of buttons here which take you to pages around the investment fund and where we're investing in transformation, and likewise where we're then making savings against transformation. All of that is detailed on those pages there. As in here, we've got a roadmap and milestones. So again, everything is collated from all of our projects and put into that page there. And then I just want to mention these 3 buttons here. So this is predominantly our tracking tools for transformation. And the way that these work is anything that's in a list in this site, so it includes milestones and it also includes benefits. Actually, we've got that linked into any project team sites that are set up delivering the work for that particular project. So we're able to link that team site to this transformation hub. And what happens then is when the project team themselves are entering risks or recording decisions, they're doing that on their team site. So they're not having to come out of Teams and doing it anywhere else. They're doing it in Teams. But what happens is we're then able to pull that information through and see it at this portfolio level. So it means that you're only needing to record it once, but actually we can see the overview at this top level. We're able to do analysis. We're able to understand where some of the key challenges may be. So you can see here, we've got project name here. There's different projects all in here. So we're able to do the analysis of risk, for example, against all of our transformation programs. So that's been really beneficial to help people with inputting data once and also enable us that line of sight. The rest of our site is turned over to the projects themselves. So each of those 38 that we've got listed at the top here have got a tile on the page here. And so this goes all the way to the bottom. So any of those, you can click on those and understand a bit more about what's happening in that particular project. So here we're looking at planning. So we're understanding what the project's doing, how we know if they've been successful, some of their milestones, some of the phasing, including also who's working on the project. So it's that high level information that you may need to understand more about the project or find out who's working on it, so you can talk to somebody about the project. And here you've got links to some of their key information. So that's the same for all of the projects across the portfolio, giving that kind of consistent view for anybody who wants to see it. So as I say, it's a central tool. It's designed to be open and transparent. And if anybody has any questions around the Transformation Hub, I'm very happy to answer them. Thank you. Okay, hopefully everyone's still awake out there. So it was a quick run through of the hub. It's useful to do it by video because then I can remember to give the demo to everybody and cover everything. And that's really it from Sarah and I in terms of talking to you about the hub. And really the rest of the session we wanted to turn over to questions, which could be about how we developed the hubs, or how we communicated with each other across the two councils, or whether or not it's about our transformation programme. I'm kind of open to anything really. So if anyone has got any questions, please pop your hand up. I'm just going to go to the right screen so I can see. So either shout out or put your hand up, whatever you're comfortable with, if anyone's got any questions, or put anything in the chat. Happy to take anything anyway, really. Tass.
Yeah, I really like what I see. If we wanted to do something similar at our council, how do we go about that? If we want to kind of borrow all the stuff that you've done so far.
Absolutely. Where are you from, Tass?
Warwick District Council.
Well, nice to meet you and welcome. Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy, I'm sure Sarah is as well, to have a conversation with anyone who's interested in developing that. We worked really closely with a couple of guys in our IT department who are kind of our SharePoint bods. So big shout out to Ben and Graham, because they did a huge amount of work from my perspective in Dorset. And they're very happy to speak to people as well around the technical elements of how we put that together. But we've got our contact details here. If I find the right slide, I'll find the right slide. So you can contact us and we can have that conversation.
That would be helpful. It wouldn't be me anyway, because I'm not, but it would be a techie person probably having a chat. But yeah, that'd be really helpful. I'll make a little note of that. Thank you.
Please do. We're happy to share, and we're also happy to learn, because as other people will develop things, we know that there'll be other new ways of doing things that we might be able to then learn and develop some more.
Yeah, we don't have anything really at the council actually for tracking. It's all individual service areas. There's no central way of doing anything.
Yeah.
Okay, well done, guys.
Excellent. Thanks, Tass. Any other questions or thoughts or comments or anything? Any reflections? Hannah.
Hi. As Nina knows, I work with her at Dorset Council, not in the transformation team. And I'm curious to know, I know kind of the transformation programme, where initially kind of a lot of these projects fell under about 6 different programmes, didn't it? So if I wanted to see like the hierarchy of which programmes these projects fall under, is there a place I could find that on the Transformation Hub?
There is. I mean, the legacy kind of programs we actually didn't stick with, because what we wanted to do was really focus on that kind of one council approach and trying to move slightly out of those directorate silos. And although the previous program alignment we did have was moving away from that, in terms of mindset, we weren't able to kind of get away. So what we've done is actually remove that layer. So it is all about one conversation, and we come together across our directorate silos to have one single transformation conversation, rather than then further siloing with other programs. In terms of kind of seeing it and seeing how it fits together, there's a bit more on our hub, which I'll put the link on afterwards, for those who can access it, because obviously at the moment we're internally accessing, so I'll have to think about that. But there's roadmap on there, so you can actually see how it all fits together, where it fits with our transformation themes and the outcomes, so you can kind of map that all across. I don't know, Sarah, from your perspective, if there's anything in terms of how you organise that you'd want to add, or not really, but
I don't think not really at this point. I think we're quite separated by directorate, our programs, which so yes, our sites are separated by directorate, but I think Nina's different. So,
but I suppose what that shows, in a broader sense, is you can use your hub in the way that you need to use your hub. It's you can apply it in all different ways. In Dorset, we've happened to have gone one way, and you're successfully delivering yours in that separate way. Is that helpful, Hannah?
Yeah, and I think I see what you mean about removing that extra layer. Kind of means that we've just got one overall transformation strategy, so I quite like that, and I love the hub, and it looks interesting, and I might speak to ICT and see if they can set up something similar for our team to use for our projects.
Yeah, they're very happy to. I think they've enjoyed it in the same way we have, in a strange way, kind of developing and trying new things and thinking about how we can do things differently, and eliminating some of those layers of paper. How we all share reports by email, and there's this version and that version, and there's something for us in trying to kind of maintain a single version of the truth where we can. Has been really, really quite exciting actually for us in order to do that. Excellent. Any other thoughts? Thanks, Hannah. Any other thoughts or questions? I can see a hand up. I can't see who. Did a hand come and go? I think a hand came and went then. If you think you've put your hand up and I can't see you, please do shout, because I can't see any hands up. But I thought I saw one pop for a second. No? Has anyone else had any experience of trying to do something in this way, like trying to kind of automate any of their project or program work, and would have any advice or development opportunities that we could perhaps learn from you? No.
I'll just say I am transformation lead at our council, but what I'm trying to do is more like the cultural change, getting people used to user-centered design and things, which is why I'm participating this week. But we're also my program is being audited, so we've got external auditors auditing my transformation program. And what they've agreed to do is not to do it as like applying an assurance level. They're just going to do it as consultancy. So all of their questions have been very much like, so where's the governance? Where's this and where's that? And I'm like, we're not really doing it in that way. So I'm expecting to get a report that says we need to have something like your hub as the outcome. So at least I know that the hub does exist. And so I could say, yeah, we're looking into that. And which we might still do, but
yeah. There's always a fine line, isn't there? Well, we're working a lot on in terms of the cultural change, and how do you move people into a space where they feel ready to make a change and work in that change environment. It's interesting that there's something around a kind of security blanket, a safety net that we feel comfortable with, and something like the hub for us seems to be performing that role in making people feel comfortable that all that's covered, and actually we don't have to keep focusing on that. We can now just keep going on and getting on with the work. Exactly. Yeah. So what we've tried to do is take that away from the business in terms of them getting on and doing the work, because the rest of it's so easy. It's done for them. It's all there. They're in their sites, in their team sites in Dorset. We use Teams in terms of our collaboration platform, and so they just continue using their team site. The fact that we're plucking the information out at the other end is neither here nor there to a certain extent for them, and so there's less hindrance in terms of the delivery, less kind of interference from what can be seen as that kind of corporate PMO coming in and constantly asking for information and asking for things, but we're able to provide assurance to that senior level about what's happening and what we're actually delivering. So that it's performed both roles for us, but it definitely does feel like that kind of gives you that little warm glow of everything's okay and you can feel comfortable seeing it.
Unless it's all red. in which case it's not all right. But
unless it's all red. But I think that's the other bit for us in terms of the culture change. So we are working through the culture of saying it's okay if something is red, and that's part of the reason why we came up with the criteria for that RAG rating, is to say this is what we mean by this. So you can have something that's a red, but actually it's red for a really good reason, and it's okay to flag that. And as part of the culture of those meetings that we have, as the kind of governance meetings, bringing everyone together for our cross-council conversation, is that really open and transparent environment to say, yeah, we're not on track, or this has gone wrong, or we need this decision, and then we can move forward, and being okay with that, and being supportive of one another, rather than a kind of environment where you're yeah, exactly, you're coming into account for why it's gone red. Everything's going to go red at some point, so it's about how you manage that and respond. And so by always having it out there, it's putting the transparency out there to say it's okay. And that seems to have gone down well. I mean, it's always going to be a slight shift for some people more than others, but culturally it does seem to be working fairly well for us at the moment.
Very good. Thank you.
So we've got a couple of minutes left. If there's any other final thoughts or comments or questions. I can see David with a hand up.
Hiya. Yeah, just one in terms of how have your project managers adapted or adopted to this way of working? How have they found it?
They've been actually quite up for it. You know, at first you're sort of thinking, oh, you're making it online, you know, automating something, and people think, oh no, it's going to be clunky, it's going to be difficult. We actually have a really positive feedback from them. With I mean, I don't know how Sarah is, but from my team there was definitely, oh, that's such a relief. We've been waiting for something. You know,
yeah, I think we were doing something way more difficult before than this. So although this is different, it's not harder than what we already had in place. So yeah, for us, it's been adopted well, I would say.
Yeah, and apologies, I missed the very start of the session. Apologies, I was having trouble with Teams. How did you involve them in the development of this?
So we did it over iterations. So we actually started this towards the end of last summer, really, and then we've just been iterating it over that time. So we were going back, testing things out, developing one section and saying, can we have a go? Can we drop some stuff in your team site, and can you have a look at it and see how it would work? Getting some feedback and then changing and developing. So, you know, as always, we're not at the end of our journey. There's always more that we're going to do, but that seems to have helped with that cultural shift as well, because obviously involved in it from the beginning.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David. And Hannah?
Yep, so I'm me again. I was just thinking, in my current role, I've often in the past had to chase people up to complete a highlight report when they've not done it by the deadline. Is that kind of easy to spot in the Transformation Hub when somebody hasn't completed a highlight report on time?
Yeah, I mean, because the way that it's done through the kind of automated list is it's really easy to just filter and sort, so you can kind of see who has and haven't done it. But to be honest, we've not had a situation yet. I mean, it is early days, I suppose, but we haven't had a situation yet where where people haven't done it. And so some of that is because we did start early in terms of involving people in it and testing some of that highlight reporting, testing the dashboards, but also kind of going back to Sarah's point where, you know, people found this easier than what they were doing before.
Yeah.
You know, and it was much more easy because it was automated. It automatically went to your sponsor. If that's who you wanted it to go to, it's signed off, it's done. You can kind of do it without having a big, having to have kind of lots of meetings or conversations about it. You can just move through it. So yeah, in terms of completion, we haven't really had any issues with it, but it is very easy to find out who has and hasn't completed.
Okay, that's interesting. So it goes, when you complete it, it will also automatically message the project sponsor as well.
Yeah, you can put in who you want to message automatically. So it can be your sponsor, it can be your whole project team, it can be whoever you want to send it to. Really, you tell the computer who you want it to send it to. That's my technical term. Yeah, so it's been really helpful.
Oh, brilliant.
Thanks, Hannah. Just mindful of time, so you know, I just want to finish and say our contact details are on the screen there. Please do give us a shout if you want to talk more to Sarah or I about the work that we've done. Very happy to talk to you about it, and thank you for coming today. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone.